Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talking About Balls. I am Justin George, joined as always by Kyle Price. Kyle, thank you for being here. I know you are under the weather, so I appreciate it on this lovely Sunday in Northeast Ohio.
Coming out on the other end of it, though. I think I've been fighting it all week, man. But yeah, like I thought I'd be better by this weekend. I woke up yesterday morning and still had that sensation of stuffiness and sore throat and everything. So I'm yesterday and today medicine because I got to get back to work tomorrow. There's no rest for the wicked, especially when you're in a new role. PTO doesn't exist right now. I mean, it exists, but I'd be stupid to ask for PTO right now.
Yeah, not the smartest time. So we did not do a show on Wednesday because I had a doctor's appointment. Nothing serious, at least as of yet. Thought I had a hernia. Wasn't really comfortable in the pelvic area, and went to the doctor. There was no bump. Typically, a hernia would come with some sort of a bump, and there was nothing discovered during my appointment. So I now have an appointment to get a scan done tomorrow to see if it's possibly a pulled groin. So we're going to see if it's a pulled groin, and if that's the case, then we'll figure out what the problem is, because I don't know what happened. I think it was I carried in our new bed frame. I know that's what it was. I tried to be Hercules, and I carried it up the stairs myself and everything, and it wasn't heavy. It was only like 150 pounds, but it was in like a 7-foot long box. So I just hooked it up on my hip, carried it up the stairs, and I'm guessing that's what did me in, because here
I know this is breaking news, but you're not young anymore, my friend.
No, I need to stretch a little bit now before I just go doing shit like that. So learned the hard way, but the pain's bearable. I haven't had to like call off work or anything like that for it. It's just uncomfortable, and we'll figure it out. If it is a groin strain, there's really nothing they can do other than it just has to heal. So
we'll find those special masseuses over in Chinatown and get the old rub out.
The old Deshaun Watson special. We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow. Hopefully, figure out at least what it is, and then get a game plan from there. But haven't really been up to a ton on my end. Truthfully, I did. Wednesday night, everyone was busy. You were traveling for work. George was busy, and I was, not feeling the greatest. So I was like, "Fuck it, let's push the show back." Wanted to make sure we got a show done in before the championship games start today at 3:00 or whatever, 3:30. And figured we'd do a quick hour today just to recap the week that was, get you your picks in before this game, let you all know that I believe this Wednesday we're not doing a show, correct? You're back to bowling.
Yep.
George is busy, so we're taking this week off. We will be back next week, Wednesday, to cover the Super Bowl, get you ready for it, and then it'll be business as usual. So that's the schedule going forward. Just wanted to say it now before I forget to post anything and before I forget myself. But yeah, really not a whole lot going on over here with us. Just doing that shit with the doctor, staying in. Went out to a friend's yesterday. He had a video game evening, and we played some Halo. Not my favorite game. I'm not an Xbox guy, so had some fun. We played, of course. Most of the evening was us trying to figure out how to get the lobbies to work, and rinse and repeat. It's what you expect when you have a video game party like that. And that's pretty much it. Really, not a whole lot else going on over here in the old George household.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's been work. I think Monday, Tuesday, I drove down Tuesday afternoon to Florence, Kentucky, to kind of get into a hotel, checked in down there, which is about a 4 hour and 20-minute drive. I mean, straight down 71, really, but then you break off. My GPS had me do like a roundabout. I guess there's an accident in downtown Cincy, so it had me go around Cincy, basically. But stayed in Florence, stayed at a hotel down there. I've been starting a new trend, not really a new trend, but every hotel I go to, I'm taking a picture of the cuck chair and just like sharing it in our golf group, because I think at the end of the year, we're going to put a polo together of all the chairs that any one of us that travel take a picture of onto a polo and call it our Cleveland Cuck Polo. Because if you look up the most like search porn in like the state of Ohio, it is actually cuckold, which is hilarious.
Really?
Yeah, it's hilarious to me. I did Florence, and I'm glad we didn't do a show Wednesday, because I thought I would be able to make it from Florence, Kentucky, across Kentucky into West Virginia in 2 hours or so. And let me tell you, that's the most boring drive I've ever done. And luckily, I couldn't. Like, I had to stop and get gas. Got slowed down by a deer that got hit in the middle of the road. Had slowed down by hills up and down. It started becoming, it was just a bad drive. Like, it was horrible. But I got in Huntington, West Virginia on Wednesday night. Then I did Huntington during the day and Thursday, went to South Charleston, West Virginia, Thursday night. And then Friday I got there, and then that's the picture I took, put on Facebook of these, what they call West Virginia, like hot dog pastries or whatever, which is literally just a donut cut half with like custard right down the middle. And they're shaped like a hot dog. And she's like, oh no, I got to get there at like 9 o'clock because they sell out. There's lines out the door. I'm like, there's no fucking way. And they're actually, I mean, I had two actually. They're pretty good. But I can't imagine that they're just out the door. But then again, when you're in South Charleston, West Virginia, and there's probably nothing else to do.
Yeah, that's the highlight of the town.
So, but no, then drove home Friday afternoon, about another 4-hour drive from South Charleston to Cleveland. So I woke up. I've been fighting it all week, and I wake up Saturday. I'm thinking I'll be good. I wasn't as congested as I have been all week. So I'm like, I'll wake up tomorrow. I'll see how I feel. I woke up Saturday. I'm like, nope, fuck it. I'm not going to risk it because I know you had Teddy coming. I know there's other babies and kids coming, and I wasn't going to be the reason like that someone got sick, right? So stayed home, took medicine, did some paint by numbers with the wife, and played a video game called It Takes Two, which I don't know if you've seen it before, where you each have the controller and you're going through a game together, and you each have to like help each other out, get through it. It's kind of cool. Does start
I don't think I've ever heard of it.
Does start argument because you, as someone who plays video games regularly and someone who doesn't, the old up and down, left, right thing with viewing stuff kind of threw her off a little bit. But no, it was a good week nonetheless. Busy. Luckily this week I'm home. Like I'm actually home for the week, so I'm not traveling. But I'll be in my old office working on that for the week. And but that's pretty much the life in our house right now. Nothing else going on.
It's middle of winter in Northeast Ohio. Just not a whole lot goes on in this time. So. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Quick BS segment. And plus, obviously, we're doing a quicker show, so we're not going to get into other things. Not that there was really much to go on. Yeah, so this episode is called The OH because, A, I thought it was funny that it spells Theo, and B, because the Ohio State University won the national championship. I know this is a sore subject for Kyle. He was...
I'm just glad it was a decent game at the end. Like I thought...
It was a blowout to start, and then Ohio State let them back.
I thought for sure it was going to be a runaway after that first two quarters. And I don't know if they just let off the gas or Notre Dame actually fought back and played well. Their defense actually shut up a little bit in the second half finally. But I thought it was a good game overall. I mean, Notre Dame just doesn't have the talent Ohio State has. That's the thing. That's no joke. I mean, Ohio State has a shit ton of talent, and
Ohio State did, like Kyle said, they let Notre Dame back in the game. It became a little bit of a tighter battle than anybody was anticipating, I'm sure. But overall, Ohio State won, and like Kyle said, the Ohio State had the best talented roster in all of college football. There were people that asked me in the beginning of the season, Oregon or Ohio State, and I was like, Ohio State. Like Ohio State is the best team. And I remember when they played in the regular season, Ohio State and Oregon, my brother-in-law, he asked me the same thing. He's like, Ohio State or Oregon? I'm like, if the Ohio State team that they have shows up, Ohio State should win. No problem. It's just a matter of them putting it all together, which they sort of did against Oregon, obviously in the first matchup, only losing by 1. It was a close game. And then clearly they did not show up for that Michigan game. That was just, I don't even know what to describe that. That was just a horrible, they caught them on the right day because Ohio State should have beat Michigan truthfully by multiple touchdowns. They are such a better team. It's not even funny. But I know Michigan fans are still going to act like, well, you won the national championship, but you didn't beat us. But at the end of the day, that means nothing. Regular season means absolutely dog shit. Ohio State's champion. That's it. Nothing Michigan fans can say or do about it. Ohio State faced the toughest route to a championship in college football history because this is the first year of the 12-team playoff. So something Michigan's never had to do. No other team in college football's had to take a road this long and this difficult. And Ohio State did it. They put up the best of the best. Ohio State knocked them all down, no problems. Really, the Texas game was probably the closest one out of all the games that they had to face. And that one really wasn't even that close because Ohio State, even if Texas would have scored at the end there, Ohio State would have had the ball with plenty of time to go down and at least try to take the lead because it would have been a tie game. So,
do you see what Jeremiah Smith is being offered right now in the transfer portal?
Yeah, there's a lot of tampering going on with Tate and Jeremiah Smith. And from what I heard, both declined, and there's going to be some tampering investigations done because you're not supposed to do what these people are doing. Basically, agents or whomever they're having from whatever schools are going after some of these top Ohio State players, and they're offering them X amount of dollars to enter the transfer portal and come to their school. And again, while the player is at a school already without having transferred yet, that's tampering. So there will be some investigations done, apparently, from what I read, based on what the NCAA football does during their investigations and the punishments they put out. I expect nothing to happen. So I'm not too concerned about
Did
it.
it say what schools that they were coming from, or did you say there's an offer out there?
I don't believe the schools have been listed yet.
Okay. Okay. I wouldn't doubt if it wasn't like top schools like, Oregon or.
Oh, it's going to be teams that have money for sure. It's not going to be like, it would be funny if it was like some shitty school, but I highly doubt it. Like Bowling Green's trying to get Jeremiah Smith to come there. Like, I don't know.
I saw like $4.5 or $5 million. That's fucking insane. Like he's
Yeah,
gonna
like,
he's gonna get a huge NIL deal from Ohio State regardless, right? And that's the thing.
Yeah.
The most money you can make is probably with Ohio State, plus all the recognition you're going to get, all the television spots you're going to get next year. And let's not joke. I mean, they're probably going to be back in the hunt for the national championship next year.
Robert, look at Robert checking in. It's been a while.
Who are these guys? I haven't seen Robert in a while.
It's probably for the best. But no, being at Ohio State is obviously if you're Jeremiah Smith, you're the best wide receiver in the nation pretty much already as a freshman. You just won a national championship. You're a household name now at this point. You're a guy that everybody's going to be expecting in 2 years to be probably the number one wide receiver taken, B, maybe even the number one overall player taken. So he's that fucking good as long as he stays healthy. Notre Dame still sucks. But yeah, no, it's interesting that teams are trying to tamper, or universities, I should say, are trying to tamper with these players in college. It's wild, but that's just the day that we.
What's crazy about Smith is like he's not like this like super tall, athletic like wide receiver. He's just great at catching the ball and he's great at route running. Like it's insane that like he's not like this Megatron type like wide receiver or lanky like Terrell Owens, whatever. He's just this guy who has great route running and good hands, like, which is crazy to me. You look at him, you don't see like boom, like the kid out of Arizona State, the guy's like 6'6" or whatever, has like great hands and all these crazy moves.
Yeah, Tat McMillan.
Yeah. But like you look at him, you're like, oh, okay, I can see it. But with Smith, it's just crazy how he's so good at just the basics, which is enough, right? It's enough to be.
Yeah, for me, I would say, I mean, it's early because he's only in his, he's a freshman, but I would say Jeremiah Smith's comparison, if I were making it, would be obviously it's an older comparison, but I would say Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, that's
the best comp I could make. Like Marvin Harrison could beat you deep, sure. He's also just a great route runner, sure-handed. I would say that. Yeah, they have Chris Henry's kid is one of the recruits they have coming. They have a few good wide receivers coming in, but I know Chris Henry, I think it's Chris Henry the second or Chris Henry Jr. or whatever is one of the top wide receiver recruits in the nation, and he is coming to the Ohio State. So just keep reloading. Obviously, the quarterback situation now becomes an issue because Will Howard played so well, but you expect that the quarterback situation will be, it's Ohio State. They're going to get the best of the best, whoever they want, whether that's a recruit that they already have in-house, whether that's getting somebody from the transfer portal, whatever. It's Ohio State. I expect them to be able to do whatever they want. Losing a lot, though. They're losing some really good defensive players, some good offensive linemen, but again, it's Ohio State. They're a powerhouse. You expect the talent to be there.
I'm just saying, I'm just hoping that Notre Dame does some with that $20 million, because being as they're independent, they got the whole $20 million paid to them since they made the championship, that they turn around and do something with it. Fund that NIL that they have and maybe go after some other talented players, top end players like they can. So we'll see. I'm hoping. I think Notre Dame's not going anywhere. Notre Dame, as long as Marcus Freeman's the coach of that team, and I say that now, knocking on wood, because there's a chance he could jump. I don't know what spot he'd go to. Luckily,
he was rumored for the Bears, but they already filled the position, so I think he's safe for at least another year.
As long as he's a coach there, he'll be able to recruit and be able to go after these top tier players. I hope so. I think Notre Dame be back at it next year.
Yeah. So as Kyle was saying, he's hoping Marcus Freeman doesn't go anywhere. Really quickly, we'll talk about it. There have been some hires in the NFL over the last few days, since even before we were going to do the show on Wednesday night. So they did lose the defensive coordinator, Al Golden. He went to Cincinnati to be the defensive coordinator for the Bengals. But in the NFL, the head coaching positions have been getting filled. There is Ben Johnson as the new official head coach. The old Detroit Lions offensive coordinator is now the head coach of the Chicago Bears. Pete Carroll making his way out of the retirement home to head to the Lions of Las Vegas. That did not make any sense. And then down in Dallas, you've got Brian Schottenheimer being hired to replace Mike McCarthy. That one is a head scratcher. That's just, I got a buddy that's a big Cowboys fan. Shout out to my friend Matt. And he basically says that, Jerry Jones needs to die, because until Jerry Jones dies, the Cowboys are going to be run by him and he's going to make horrible decisions. So if you're letting Mike McCarthy go just to bring in Brian Schottenheimer, you look foolish. That's a horrible decision by the Cowboys. Just
great last name,
Jerry stuff.
Great last name, but
I think he's a strong name, but he is not a well-respected person to be a head coach. He's a good coordinator.
He wanted somebody in there that he could control, he could manipulate, and that's all he wanted. He didn't want somebody like a Deion Sanders who'd come in with needing his own like way of doing shit. Like he needed somebody he could have his hands up and kind of control what he wanted to do. So,
yeah, not a great hire there for Dallas. But again, I mean, what do you expect? It's Dallas. Ben Johnson came out kind of swinging. It was interesting. He was calling out Matt LaFleur by name. And Matt LaFleur and him don't really have a relationship, so everyone was saying that was really strange that he did that. Jerry Jones hired Schottenheimer just as a yes man. And then kind of shocking, Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans, got fired kind of suddenly out of nowhere the other day. Houston had a really good offense. I didn't really think their offense was a problem, and then all of a sudden Bobby Slowick is fired. So curious to see what happens in that situation. Robert Saleh, the head coach of the Jets. Sorry, Kyle. Go ahead.
No, go ahead and finish.
He is he went back to San Francisco to be their defensive coordinator for next year. So he has landed a job, albeit not a head coaching job, but he still found a job.
I think we kind of joked about that a couple weeks ago that he'd probably find his way back in San Francisco in a comfort place for him because he wasn't going to get a head coaching job, I don't think.
No, he's going to prove himself again. He might get a second chance because, if I were him and I had to show someone my resume and they're like, oh, you were the head coach of the Jets and it didn't go very well, I would be like, well, look at who they gave me. Look at this team. Yeah. So
right. I agree. I was going to say back to Houston, though, like it just sucks because they were really hampered by injury. Like that offensive side of the ball was all like, injury prone. And so,
for sure. It was bad. You lost multiple 3 wide receivers for the season with terrible ACL injuries. And, the offensive line was okay. CJ Stroud kind of regressed a little bit, but that happens in year 2 a lot with quarterbacks. So the fact that Slowick got fired, especially so late after the season, it was kind of strange. Like their season ended and they waited about 2 weeks to let him go. It didn't make a whole lot of sense.
Unless they have somebody they want like hot off, unless they have somebody in these playoffs right now that they want to hire, I don't know what they're doing. But I thought the offense was great the first couple weeks of the season when they were all healthy. They were moving the ball, they were scoring, they were winning games. I was high in Houston all year for the first part of the year because they just had offensive weapons, But that's unfortunate. So I was curious who they hired, but it must be somebody in the playoffs right now.
You would think, or it's a strange situation. It sucks for Bobby Slowick, but that's the price you pay in the NFL because he was last year, could have taken a head coaching job. This year, didn't get any calls for a head coaching interview, and now he's fired. So he could have probably cost himself not just money. I get it. Being a head coach is, there's honor in that. But I also think that, he first-time head coach, you're probably getting a 5-year, $30 million deal from a team to be a head coach. And even if you get fired, you get all that money. The Browns fans should know that best because we've gone through so many damn coaches, but you get your money and you can just go work somewhere else as an assistant. And he is now likely going to be stuck as an assistant for the rest of his career, unless, he turns it around. Who knows? Aaron Glenn has been officially hired as the head coach of the New York Jets. Forgot about that one. That slipped through the cracks there. So both the offensive and defensive coordinators of the Detroit Lions have found new homes in the NFL after their team got embarrassed win against the Commanders a couple of weeks ago. Really good games last week in the NFL. We didn't get a chance to talk about them yet. Bills beat the Ravens. Lamar Jackson does what Lamar Jackson does in the playoffs. Bunch of turnovers, his own fault. The drop by Mark Andrews would have only tied the game. Then you give the Bills like 3 minutes to go down the field just to kick a field goal. So the fact that everybody was harping on Mark Andrews for that as if he single-handedly cost them the game, I really don't think the Ravens are going to win anyway, but obviously we'll never know. Mark Andrews, the huge drop, a huge fumble. Lamar with an interception with a fumble. I love it. Couldn't happen to a better team. Now, the only team I need to lose today is the Philadelphia Eagles. If the Philadelphia Eagles can lose, I will be very happy with a Super Bowl of Washington against whomever from the AFC. I just want a good game. I don't care about any of these teams. I don't like Philly. I hate the city. I hate the fans. I know a couple of people that are Philly fans. I don't want them to be happy or go to the Super Bowl. So I'm rooting against Philly. That's the only team I'm rooting against this weekend, though. And then on the flip side, which we'll talk about later, I don't know how to feel about Washington because Washington was the number 2 overall pick last year. They stunk. They got a new head coach. They get the new rookie quarterback. They are in the NFC Championship game. The Browns are taking the 2nd overall pick this year. all Browns fans are going to talk about, especially if Washington makes the Super Bowl, is how the Browns have to follow this. If they can do it, the Browns can do it. And the Browns are set at such a high standard. It's going to be an annoying offseason if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, if Washington goes to the Super Bowl. Hell, if they win it, oh, it's going to be ugly. But yeah, Daniels can make history as the first rookie quarterback to take his team to a Super Bowl. We'll see. We'll get into this later.
Washington, like watching them play, it's like they don't play clean football. Like they do make some mistakes. They're just rough around the edges, but somehow, some way they find themselves in it and winning at the end of the game. Like that game against last week, and I'm sure we'll talk more about it, but just the fact that like how they pulled that off, like to me, like how they just dominated that game from start to finish. Well, not start to finish, from actually mid part to the end. Like some of the plays they got away with, some of the passes he got away with, some of the runs they got was insane to me. Like I don't know. Like to me, it's not like all luck, but
I mean, it's crazy because Jaden Daniels is a rookie quarterback who personally I wasn't the biggest fan of coming out of LSU. I thought he'd be okay. I didn't think he'd be as good as he is so far.
They play straight football. Yeah,
they do.
He just doesn't give a shit. Like I think that's how Daniels is playing. Is like he doesn't care, right? He's gonna throw the ball, and if he makes a mistake, We'll do it again next play. You know.
The best analogy that I can give for Jaden Daniels, and I know this is gonna sound crazy because he's a multiple-time MVP, but you guys know my stance on this player. Lamar Jackson. Jaden Daniels is a better passer than Lamar Jackson. He has better accuracy. I thought Lamar Jackson was not a very good passer. I get it. I sound like an idiot saying that. He's getting better for sure. But I know I sound like an idiot saying that because he's a multiple-time MVP. I think he had, 5 interceptions this whole entire season.
He's going to be MVP this year too. So
it should go to Josh Allen. Josh Allen's a better player.
Nah, they won't give it to him.
I think they will. They realize Buffalo's due. Josh Allen's done well enough. I think he's getting it. And he was my preseason pick, so I'm sticking to it. But Lamar Jackson is just an average passer with great feet. Jaden Daniels has great feet, and he has an above-average arm. So that really helps Washington because Washington's talent, is great. You have Zach Ertz, you've got Terry McLaurin, you've got Austin Eckler, you've got Brian Robinson Jr. They've got some pretty decent talent. The offensive line's okay. The defense is a hodgepodge of a bunch of has-beens and who the fuck are you kind of players. Like Bobby Wagner is their leader on defense, and he's been in the league for 15 years now. So they're a fun team. They got a new head coach. They got the rookie quarterback. They had the number 2 overall pick in the draft, and they are a win away from the Super Bowl. Browns fans are going to be living and dying by the Washington Commanders, in my opinion.
And I think Washington only gets better now because you have that team out there where players are going to want to tell their agents, I want to go play in Washington right now. I'd like to go be on that team or be on that defense or that offense because I think they see that the potential that team has to go. And plus, their coach is fun. What other coach right after the kickoff just throws his hat backwards and rocks it out the entire time? You know what I mean?
Like Dan Quinn's a weird dude, but he seems like a fun coach.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So what fun atmosphere? So I guarantee in the free agency, if they have the money, which I'm assuming they do, they could probably bring some rooms in there. So.
Yeah, they're in a great spot because you have the rookie quarterback. So you have another 4 years of paying him rookie wages. So you have to take advantage of your small window. That's what the Texans tried to do. Texans are in a small window with C.J. Stroud. They now have another year gone. But you try to take advantage of it. That's why they went out and got Stephon Diggs. That's why they went out. They sign players. They give extensions to people because you have the money now. Once your quarterback's,
you think?
Yeah, I think it's done for Detroit. Unfortunately, I think they're not going to be able to retain guys. So a lot of people are going to leave. They lost all their coaches, all their coordinators. With losing Ben Johnson, he's probably going to be bringing in a lot of other Detroit people to come work with him in Chicago. Same with Aaron Glenn in New York. You typically don't leave and then just go by yourself. You take a lot of people that you know. And I've always said it. Dan Campbell is his own worst enemy. Some of the play calling, put the blame on whoever you want for that game against Washington, but there were some really stupid play calls. They're running like wide receiver passes and reverses and like flip, they just try too hard to be cute. And I feel like if they just stick to their game plan, they're talented enough to not need all that trickery bullshit. And I've said it since Dan Campbell got hired. I told my buddy Josh, that's a diehard Detroit Lions fan. I always told him, I said, you guys have the potential to be the best, one of the best teams in football. Does Dan Campbell get in the way? And so far, the last 2 years, they've been arguably the best team in football, and Dan Campbell's gotten in the way. So until he proves that he's not going to do that, that's just how it is.
How did he take that loss last week?
Haven't talked to him. I feel like he did not take it well, so I have not reached out, and I have not said anything.
He's probably the biggest Detroit fan I know. As I was wondering how he's doing with that.
Yeah, the best season Detroit has ever had to then choke in the playoffs like that has just got to be devastating. I even told Tara that today. She's like, what are we doing for the Super Bowl? I'm like, I don't know yet. Like, I haven't really talked to anybody. And she's like, I wonder if Josh and Maria are going to do anything. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I would think not. She's like, why? I said, because Detroit got embarrassed last week. They were the best team in football. I'm like, if that were me, there's no fucking way I'm hosting a Super Bowl party if we were that close.
Especially if it's the Washington Commanders in the Super Bowl, the team that just embarrassed you.
Exactly. How does Jared feel? Who's Jared a fan of Detroit?
Jared claims Detroit is his second team or whatever. So I don't know.
People that claim is their quote unquote second, I don't feel bad. You have no actual like heart into it. Yeah. All right. So yeah, in the AFC Championship, we have the Kansas City Chiefs are advancing because they were able to beat the Houston Texans last week. Per usual, of course, everybody bitches and moans about the refs and the plays, and the calls that the Chiefs get, but they were clean. I think Patrick Mahomes reminds me of LeBron James. Patrick Mahomes is just out there going, hey, fuck it. I know what a foul is. I'm going to do my best to try to get a foul. It's an advantage for the Chiefs. If the refs call it, that's on them. You can't blame Patrick Mahomes for trying.
That one pass he had, though, where he's basically vertical throwing in the end zone, the Kelsey was kind of cool.
Touchdown to Kelsey. That's how good he is. That's why I hate when people try to shit on Mahomes and the Chiefs. Like, watch it for every bad call for roughing the passer. Look at a play like that, and you go, "Oh fuck, they actually are really good." So I give them all the credit in the world.
I'm just getting tired of the Chiefs every year. Just, I'm not to give it away, but I hope the fucking Bills take it finally. Just fucking get rid of the Chiefs. I'm just tired of them this year.
I'm indifferent. Like I said, I like the Chiefs. I like Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, here I am drinking a garage beer in honor of my boy Travis Kelce from the Heights.
Is that the lime one?
Yeah. So I got a little garage beer going. I'm rooting for the Chiefs. I've always said it, though. I hate Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady's the most overrated quarterback. Don't get me wrong. His stats are there. It's historic. But I feel like for his Super Bowl wins, there's a tarnish on all of them. There was the Tuck rule. There was Deflate Gate. There's fucking all these things that happened. And I hate Tom Brady. I really do. I really want. There's Spygate. I forgot about that one. So there's been multiple championships for Tom Brady that have come with some sort of drama behind it. So I want Patrick Mahomes to surpass Brady. I want Patrick Mahomes to be the best quarterback of all time because I think he's earning it. He has just come in. He sat first year. Boom. He's just great. There's nothing bad can be said about Patrick Mahomes. He seems like the nicest dude in the world. For that, I'm a Mahomes guy. I hate Tom Brady, so I constantly root for the Chiefs, as long as the Browns aren't involved, obviously. But I root for the Chiefs. I want the Chiefs to win another Super Bowl. I want Mahomes to be the greatest quarterback of all time so we can stop with the Brady talk, and I can move on with my life. That's kind of all I want in this situation. So I'm rooting for the Bills.
Never going to end.
The Chiefs. I'm happy with either one. The Bills I totally get. The Bills have been fucked for years. They're very similar to Cleveland. Just a gritty town that has horrible luck with sports. And they're owed. Josh Allen's great. Wouldn't hate seeing that at all. But of course, you're going to get the backlash. You're going to get the fans that come out and say, oh, the Browns could have had him. That's the year they drafted Baker and blah, blah, blah. So you can't win. They either bitch that we don't have Baker, or now they're going to bitch that we don't have Josh Allen. So you can't win. But
no. I just hope that they make Super Bowl, the Bills win it and don't have that stat of always getting to a Super Bowl and never winning one.
That was going to be my next thing. Is I hope the Super Bowl comes out of the AFC. That's all I'll say. I don't care who wins it. I just hope it goes to an AFC team. I don't want the Commanders to get it because obviously rookie quarterback, number 2 overall pick. It will always be, all year Browns are just going to say.
Dan Snyder would be the reaction on Dan Snyder's worth it though. I think he's probably
that would be great, but we'll never know. He's going to lock his door and he'll never be seen from again. You guys know my stance on the Eagles. I fucking hate the Eagles and I hate Philadelphia, so I'm definitely rooting against them.
I want Saquon to get something though. I mean, I like Saquon Barkley, right? He's having a hell of a year. I hate the fact he's on the Eagles, but I mean, good for him for going to a team where he's outshined any year. I think he's had with the Giants. I think this is his best year
by a mile. Yeah, by a mile. He's having the best year of his life.
Good for him. I mean, honestly, that's the only person on that team I care about, though. Everyone else go fuck himself.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I don't know. I just hate Philadelphia. I've been there. I hate it. I hate their fans. I hate the people. I hate the videos. Like, we didn't even talk about it. There was the video of the Packers fan getting yelled at by the Eagles fan after the playoff game.
Dude got fired from his job.
Yeah, he did. I wonder if that was true, because I look at it too, and I wonder if I'm the company and there's people coming at us like that, I would just be like, hey, put out a press release, say we fired him, and they're going to leave us alone. That's how quick everybody has an attention span in America. That story went away immediately. So it was popular for 2 days. The story came out that he got fired. No one's talked about it since. In my opinion,
too many public people out there that would probably find out he didn't get fired and be even bigger backlash. I don't know. I'm sure he did get fired, unfortunately.
yeah, I don't know. It was just funny because if the report was that he worked for some like DEI company or something like that, so he's out there supposed to be like all about,
well, as of January 20th, if you work for any DEI company, especially for the government,
he looks like he was losing his job regardless.
Anyways.
So that video did him a favor. He got a head start on the unemployment line, I guess. But yeah, if I were running a company and they were coming at me for somebody who did something like that, like in a non-violent, like, he was just talking shit. It was annoying. Sure, you want to suspend him, that's fine. But I would just be like, yeah, we fired him, put out the press release, and then everyone would forget it.
I also want to talk to the boyfriend or the husband who's sitting at his video and then like letting it happen. Like, I'm sorry. Maybe you're more patient than I am, but if someone says anything like that to my wife, you fuck you. Like, I mean,
I would say I want to see all the footage from beginning to end, or I don't care. Because if I don't know what caused it, then I can't judge.
For sure. Because you don't know. I don't think she said something, but maybe he said something and he just went after her.
No, he wore the body cam. Like, for sure, he's out there looking for trouble. There was a reason behind that. He's supposedly some sort of a vlogger or something like that. He's not popular. Yeah.
Oh, so you think he baited him probably?
Apparently this all came out after the fact. He runs a YouTube page where he like vlogs his life, and then he made a GoFundMe for people to give him money to go to that game. And he said, if you guys pay for the ticket, I'll go to this Eagles game in Philadelphia wearing Packers stuff. I'll go into the heart of the beast with my body camera on. So he did it on purpose. I think he was baiting people. He got what he wanted. He went viral. Boom. And again, a short attention span in America. It's a week later, and the story's dead.
You could not pay me enough money to wear an opposite team's colors. Everyone is more afraid of Jess than you are. That's true. Jess is room. But you cannot pay me money to wear different teams' colors in Philly. Like, that's just, they get crazy out there. Like, I get, like, even going to Pittsburgh, it's not bad. Like, we wore Browns in Pittsburgh. It is what it is, right? And vice versa. But going to Philly and wearing other teams, like, I've heard a lot of stories of people getting their ass beat, by Philly fans, because this is who Philly is.
Yeah, Philly, again, it's a shithole. It's a scummy town. It smells like piss. Most of the people there are scummy. Fuck them.
Good cheese taste, though.
Overrated. I went to both Geno's and Pat's. They were okay. Fuck Philly. But yeah, there's your recap for last week. Saturday, you had the Chiefs beat the Bills, the Chiefs beat the Texans 23-14. You had the Commanders win 45-31 in a game where, like Kyle said, they kind of dominated. Right when Detroit would try to come down and get that momentum, Washington would be right there with an answer. So kudos to them. Great job with the coaching staff. Great job with the defense. For a team that most expected to be kind of bad this year, to be one game away from the Super Bowl is impressive. The Eagles hold on to win against the Rams 28-22 in an ugly game that really wasn't even as close as the score shows.
Beautiful game. No, I like snow games. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, they're fun. It just sucks because it's like, I hate it for, even as a non-fan of any of these teams, I look at it as like you played 17 games this year just for your season to be on the line in a shitty weather game where guys are dropping the ball because it's so cold and, fumbling because it's snowy and cold. It's like, I don't know, it kind of sucks. Your whole season comes down to that. But because it happened against a team like the Ravens, I love it. So it's only like this year I like it. Next year I'll hate it if it hurts a team that I like. But, I get it. You can't control the weather. It just sucks that you start the season when it's 90 degrees outside and you end it when it's below 20. So
everyone played in the same field, though. Yeah. So both teams,
except for Detroit and Washington, they got domes. Bastards.
Well, that's just how that happens. But it's okay.
But yeah,
we'll have a dome in a couple years too. Don't worry, it's fine.
Yeah, Bills hold on to beat the Ravens 27-25 because of the dropped Mark Andrews 2-point conversion. So, and again, everyone wants to blame that because people are prisoners of the moment. They say, oh, he dropped that ball that cost him the game. They went for 2 earlier, and Lamar made a bad pass that got deflected. That's a difference maker. Little things like that add up. So overall, it was a team loss. Couldn't happen to a better team. I'm happy about it. We'll move on here to switch sports really quick. Speaking of teams that lose, the Cavaliers are on a 3-game losing streak. They got embarrassed by Oklahoma City 2 weeks ago, almost about a week and a half ago after our show. They got smoked. I thought, okay, whatever. They needed that. They needed a little punch in the mouth. Then they play Houston, and against Houston, they miss a bunch of free throws and they lose the game. It was embarrassing the way they did that. I don't know if you saw it. So they got right at the end of the game, Darius Garland shoots a 3. Cavs are down by 3, I believe. Or no, I'm sorry, they were down by 2. Cavs were down by 2. Darius Garland had 3 free throws. It was a flagrant because he didn't have enough room to step down. So the Cavs got 3 free throws and the ball down by 2 with like 5 seconds to go in the game. I saw that and I went, easy win. Here you go. Darius Garland misses 2 out of 3 free throws. So the Cavs are down by 1. Then the Cavs get the ball inbound. Pass, shot by Donovan Mitchell, brick. Cavs lose to Houston by 1. Okay. Shitty game. They lost by 1. They don't have Evan Mobley. It's okay. They'll figure it out.
They had to come back in that game, though. They had to come back in that fourth quarter. It's crazy.
And again, they were playing without Evan Mobley, so I thought, okay, not that big, he's a huge factor for the team. I'll take this L. It is what it is. Then they go to Philadelphia, who's without Joel Embiid, who is not a very good basketball team, still without Evan Mobley, and they get embarrassed. They were down by a lot at some points. The Cavs did make it close towards the end, but it wasn't enough. They still lost. Embarrassing. Okay, they're without Evan Mobley. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. Then they play back-to-back. They played the Rockets last night. Evan Mobley's back. I'm thinking, okay, cool. What do? They go out and get embarrassed by the Rockets again. The Cavaliers' defense is just non-existent at this point. They gave up 135 points yesterday. They are giving up points like it's going out of style. I don't know what the fuck's going on with them, but they're not as efficient on offense as they used to be, and their defense is pathetic.
It's making it, 2 weeks ago, I would have told you I don't want any trades. I don't want to trade anybody in this team. Now you're making a case for we need to get some defense, especially wing presence in defense, because teams that play against us look at it like a 3-point contest. Have you seen the 3-point percentage or the shots made?
Oh, it's ridiculous.
That's all they're doing. They just come down. It's like playing the old school like Nintendo game. Run down the court from the corner 3, good. Go run down the corner. It's automatic anymore.
And don't get me wrong. Evan Mobley was missing, but so was Isaac Okoro, and so was Karis LeVert. Karis LeVert, up until recently, was legitimately playing well enough to be considered Sixth Man of the Year. I don't think he's in the conversation for that anymore, but he still was playing really well. He's been out. Okoro is our best defensive player, so he's hugely missed. But overall, I'm kind of embarrassed by the Cavaliers. They went from being the best team in basketball by a fucking mile to now they're just getting embarrassed every night. And like Kyle said, they cannot defend the perimeter. Their defense is terrible. If you're not named Jared Allen or you're not named Evan Mobley, you apparently don't know how to get a rebound because teams are out rebounding us, getting offensive rebounds like crazy. So not only are teams shooting a ton against us, we don't have the offensive, or we're giving up offensive rebounds, so we're allowing second chance baskets all the time. And in the NBA, those guys are really, really good. If you give them 2 chances, odds are they're going to score on one of them. So that's why the Cavs are losing. They're giving up a ton of points. They're not being physical. I mean, I don't know if you saw it from the game against the Rockets on whatever night, Wednesday night or whenever the fuck. Jared got shoved down to the ground. So late in the game with like a minute to go or so, there's a shot by the Rockets. And I forgot how to pronounce his name. It's Sengun, or however you say his last name, the center for the Rockets. He shoves Jared Allen to the ground. So the refs stop the game. They go to the review, and you can see plain as day. As the ball's bouncing in the air, Jared Allen's trying to establish position, and he just gets shoved down to the ground. Seems pretty basic to me, at least a foul. And the refs come back and go, nothing, no call. We're not calling a foul on that at all. I was in disbelief, and that was before the Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland free throw incident, but still didn't make any fucking sense to me how that wasn't a call. But then the fact that the Cavs just let it happen showed me again, the Cavs are soft. It made me remember the series against the Knicks a few years ago where they just got bullied, and it happened against the Rockets.
We got ran over.
The Cavs just are soft. They got punched in the mouth by a couple teams, and they don't have an answer because if they're not hitting their shots and other teams are, it's over. Cavs have no answer.
Are you making a trade?
Trying. The Cavs are extremely limited with assets and what they can do, so I would say I'm trying to make a trade. I'm not guaranteeing anything. You can't really blow up much because we have too much money.
I keep on seeing Cam Johnson get floated around. I don't know what they want for him or what we give up.
They're going to want, and they're going to get a lot, I assume, if they can get rid of him this year. It's going to be, first-round draft picks, starting caliber players.
Yeah.
So the Cavs have it. I've seen some fake packages thrown around that's like multiple second-round picks because the Cavs can't trade a first-round pick until I think 2031 because you can't they won't let you do back-to-back years. So the next available year the Cavs have for a first-round pick is 2031, I think. Okay. So you can offer your 2031 pick. You can offer, a Coro or Karis LeVert or somebody like that. But that's kind of it. And then I don't know. It's tough. The Cavs just don't have enough ammo. I don't think that really pushes the needle. If I'm Brooklyn, if I'm getting a first round pick from the Cavs in 6 years, and I'm getting a couple bench players basically that are, fringe-worthy even starters in the NBA. I don't know. That's not really moving the needle for me. I feel like they'll get better offers elsewhere. But I guess the only way to find out is by making an offer. So I trust Kobe Altman to see what he's going to do. But they got to figure something out because it's ugly right now, and they have a tough stretch this week too.
Trade deadline?
I think it's in like 2 weeks. It's close.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very close. It's
before the All-Star game, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right.
So it should be coming up really soon. I don't remember the exact date. Maybe George can look into that for us, but it should be coming up really quickly. So the Cavs need to do something. Speaking of teams doing things in Cleveland, the Guardians made a couple of moves. They traded Miles Straw to the Toronto Blue Jays, another questionable move. I don't really understand. It's a salary dump. Miles Straw makes too much money. February 6th is the deadline. So, yeah, it's very close. Thank you, Jose.
He'll get cut by Toronto. Or he'll do.
Yeah, more than likely. This was a weird move for Miles Straw, or for the Blue Jays, I should say. He has a decent amount of money coming his way. The Guardians, I think, are taking a little bit of it, but overall, the Blue Jays are taking it. The only thing I can think of was the Guardians gave a little bit of extra money into what's called the International Fund or whatever. So, you can trade a team cash and stuff like that in Major League Baseball. So they gave money for their international fund. So the Blue Jays were reportedly in the market to sign that guy. I forgot his name off the top of my head. That just signed with the Dodgers, the Japanese pitcher.
Still, there's some shadiness to that deal. Like if you look behind it, oh, that's fucking crazy.
So that's the funny thing. Blue Jays people are pissed because they thought they legitimately had a chance at getting this guy. So that's why people think they made this trade with the Guardians, because they wanted that extra money. Because the Guardians were like, well, here's more international money. And they were like, perfect, going to this guy. We're going to get him. And then he's like, yep, going to the Dodgers. So there is some questionable shit. But until Major League Baseball stops it, the Dodgers are just playing by the rules. So hate it or love it, it is what it is. The Dodgers aren't doing anything wrong. They're following the rules of Major League Baseball. So it's not on them.
Their starting rotation where you have like Kershaw as your probably fifth or fourth is insane.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
It's insane to me. And then your starting lineup, your batting lineup is beyond insane to me too.
1 through 9, they're one of the best teams in baseball. Arguably they just won the World Series, so if not the best. And then you've got
so much money. It's just kicking it down.
Your starting 5 for your pitching rotation looks like an all-star game lineup. So it's it's interesting. They're doing well, but again, can't hate it. Yeah, on paper, the best starting staff ever. Truly, if they stay healthy, that the Dodgers are World Series champs, and it's easy.
Just get the season, get to the playoffs. There's no point. I mean, they're going to be there anyway.
So. It's no different than what LeBron does with the quote unquote flopping, and what Patrick Mahomes does. The Dodgers are just taking the rules and saying, "All right, we'll follow it. Here you go."
What role would you change though to stop them from doing it? Because I feel like there's just so much money. In baseball that it's never going to change.
At this point, it's too late. But a salary cap would be the starter. You have to have a cap, even if it's outrageous.
What baseball would look like with a salary cap?
It would make the game so much better. It would put the game back on the map. That's what's hurting it, because you only have, that teams, I just finished reading the book Moneyball, and it's so spot on, even as a 20-year-old book or whatever, however old it is, it's so spot on with right now, because it talks about the Pirates, it talks about the Guardians, it talks about the Oakland A's, and how these teams just don't have money. So they're like, they know they don't keep these people because they're historically cheap teams. So they don't do that. And then you have these powerhouse teams that just keep spending money because they can. So yes, a cap, even if it's a huge cap, it could still be, $700 million is still a good cap, and it would still prevent the Dodgers from getting some of these people, or, maybe not 700, but you know what I mean? You could get a very high cap. And I also think they should install a minimum. So your salary cap, you have to spend at least $120 million or something like that, because Pittsburgh, Cleveland,
it would make teams like spend money that have the money, they just don't spend it.
Yeah.
It's insane. I agree. That'd be a great idea.
And that's what really pisses me off right now with the Guardians, because the Guardians traded Andres Gimenez, and it was a $100 million contract. And you look at that and you go, okay, they're saving a ton of money. Who are they going to get? They've got nobody. They signed a relief pitcher the other day from fucking Seattle or whatever, who a couple years ago, don't get me wrong, he was the closer for the Arizona Diamondbacks, but that was 2 years ago. And a closer in Major League Baseball, as we saw from Emmanuel Clase, they can change their talent very quickly. But then you have Miles Straw now traded, saves more money for the Cleveland Guardians. So you're looking at that going, who the fuck are they going to get? Who are they going to get? And after talking with Greg about it, they're getting nobody. This is just more money for the Dolans because the Dolans look and go, well, this is money for us because we didn't make as much money on our TV deal last year. So we're filling our pockets with money we didn't get elsewhere. So we're not putting it into the team. We're putting it into our own pockets. They're funding a relative's campaign. They're doing all this extra shit besides putting money into the team. And I've come to the realization that these off-season moves were not to invest in the team. They were to invest in the Dolans. So it's just rinse and repeat. It's frustrating as a fan. I am wearing the hat kind of ironically today because I am pissed about it. There's a part of me that wants to like boycott the team. Like I go to a handful of games every year. I watch the games all the time. I love baseball, but part of me like wants to just not pay attention. I know I can't, but
I haven't been to a game. I haven't been to a game in like 2 years, I think.
Going, I'd be completely okay with not going. Now that I have Teddy, she's still a little too young to give a shit, so I'm cool with like I don't have to go. But like I don't know, it's just so tough being a fan because I love the Guardians. I want them to win. I want them to succeed. We had such a great year last year. Let's build on this momentum. Let's capitalize. Let's go. And they're taking talent away and not reinvesting it. And you're kind of like, what the fuck? It's so disheartening.
It's just getting tired. It's getting tiring of always being good enough to be where they're at every year, which is top of the division, making maybe the first round of the playoffs. So you're competitive every year, right? You have a good record. You're starting to bring fans in the stadium, but that's it. Like that's literally a World Series to us is getting out of the first round of the playoffs. Is like, okay, we accomplished something this year. Now we can not worry about the rest of the season because we're not going to make it any further. Because now you come up against the Yankees or whoever else, Houston or whoever else you might come up against in the AL, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, no, it really is. It sucks. Again, as a Guardians fan, like I hate losing to the fucking Yankees all the time. It just keeps happening because we can't afford to outslug them. What the Guardians do in the regular season is fantastic. They play small ball. They have just talent from their farm teams. That's great. It's fantastic. But then when you get to the playoffs where it really matters, we obviously don't have enough to keep up with these other teams. It's a shame what happened in 2016 against the Cubs because we were the better team. They should have won the World Series that year, but it is what it is. I don't live in the past. But going forward, these teams are just going to keep getting better. They're going to keep spending money. The money is just going to be increasing and increasing, and they have more and more and more. And with no cap, they can just keep doing what the Dodgers are doing. Like teams can just spend and spend and spend. The Mets now basically have unlimited funds. Steve Cohen is filthy rich. They have unlimited money. That's why they were able to go out and get Juan Soto. They can spend whatever the fuck they want.
Are they about to re-sign Alonso back too? Is that what I saw?
They offered him a pretty hefty contract, and now people are saying that they expect Alonso to go back there because of they're throwing it around.
That's insane that they're gonna. I mean, I don't know. For some reason, I thought Pete Alonso was like old, ancient. Like he's not worth like. Bringing in or signing or signing that big of a contract. But I guess he's not. I guess he's worth at least another 5 or 6 year deal.
No, I think he is for sure. I think if you can get away with him being at a DH, you're better because he is getting a little older. So having him in the field is a little bit more of a liability, and it probably wears him down as a batter. But he can still mash. He's a good hitter. If he leaves the Mets, I'm sure he'll make a pretty good penny somewhere else. It's just a matter of breaking up the team because he's been with the Mets for his whole career. The negotiations with Alonso, it's 50-50. He may move on, which, hey, more power to him if he doesn't feel like he's getting what he deserves. But yeah, so it's infuriating right now that the Guardians are just not spending the money that they've been saving. So that's the biggest issue is, okay, let's build on this great season we had. We were a few games away from the World Series. Would we have had a shot against the Dodgers? Likely not. But still, you don't know till you get to the dance. Guardians were so close. They had such a great year just for them to take away talent. And they got rid of Josh Naylor. They got rid of Andres Gimenez. They got rid of Miles Straw, which was money. And then they're not reinvesting. And that's just so fucking frustrating as a fan.
Oh, we're going after Alonso. We're going to sign him. Get ready.
We already have our first baseman. We have Carlos Santana. What are we talking about? We don't need anybody else. We have a 40-year-old who's been here 3 times.
Carlos Santana.
Yeah. So go Guardians.
Can we just sign Jim Thome bring back another first baseman?
We have Jim Thome as our engineer today. That's George's AI picture. He looks just like Jim Thome in it. So we basically have Jim Thome.
And put him up to bat all the time. That'd be great. You'd probably do more than.
I mean, I'd be okay with it. Couldn't be worse than some of the people we've had. All right. Well, with that being said, we're going to get into our picks for the NFL, and then we're going to wrap up with just the tip, and we're going to call it a week so everybody can get ready, get their food cooked, get prepped for the playoff games today. I can't fucking wait. So, I had talked to Kyle very recently, within the last 10 minutes. I want to do a little pick that George also just saw, and I want to give everybody a little bet of the day. We talked about it last week. It got me thinking about it. We no longer have our sponsorship with a Bet Stamp anymore, and that's okay. Shout out to those guys. We appreciate them supporting us in the beginning of their app. And but with that being said, we can still do betting. Sports betting is such a big deal. I'd like to start making our bets of the day, our bets of the week, or whatever. And just for fun, my bet today that I'm going with, that I'm very strong about, is I want the over. Depends on what it is on your app. I can't vouch for that. I didn't have a chance to look it up. I am taking Jalen Hurts over his rushing yards. I saw it on some apps. He was about 32.5 for basically minus 110, which is close to even money. I found him at 30 on DraftKings for minus 110. I got that early this morning. I don't know what the line is right now, but I still like him even at like 33. So if you get a chance, if you guys like betting, if you can get Jalen Hurts over his rushing yards, if it's reasonable, if it's under like 35, and you can get it for close to even money, that's my pick of the day. I think Jalen Hurts is going to use his legs. That's what he does. He is the veteran in this matchup, and that's my bet of the day. I'm taking Jalen Hurts rushing over.
So I have a lot of parlays going today, but my one single bet that I saw that I haven't put down yet, which I'm going to right when we get off here, is the longest run of the day for Saquon, which I think right now is at 22.5. And I believe it's not even money. I think it's like plus something. If I have to take a look and see, it's probably changed since then. At the last time I looked, like plus 150 or plus 200, which I think, to me, him having a 22-yard run he's done it a lot. He's done it a lot recently too. So if I had to pick money, which I'm going to put probably $5 on it when I get off this call, this show, it's probably worth the bet of the day right there. I have a lot of parlays. There's a couple different ones out there, but the 22.5 for Saquon is a pretty safe bet. I think probably double your money with that too. So that's my pick of the day right there.
I feel like I found that the playoffs have been difficult. Some people just aren't showing up like they used to in the regular season. So I've been kind of staying away from the parlays. Last week I got screwed on a parlay because I had the longest rush for Jalen Hurts being like, I forgot, it was like 14 yards, and he ended up having that like 50-yard touchdown, so that hit easily. And I parlayed it with Lamar Jackson. I had Lamar Jackson's longest rush, 16.5 over. His longest rush was 16 on the fucking nose, so I missed it by half a yard. So
it's changed since I saw it this morning. It's right now his stat line is actually 24.5 at a minus 105. So it's changed drastically. But still, I mean, you throw 5 on it, you could probably make $5.
Yeah, you expect him to break a good run, and damn near even money. Take it.
Yeah,
all right, so those are our picks of the day for everybody at home. If you guys want to, obviously don't blame us if they lose, but that's what we're going with today. We're actually putting our own money on it. So if you guys want to tag along, feel free. If you want to fade, feel free to do that as well. No one's stopping you. All right. But without further ado, we're going to get into picks right here. And we first have the NFC Championship games kicking off here in about a half an hour. We have the Washington Commanders going to Philadelphia. My heart, I want to take the Commanders because I don't like the Eagles, but my gut says go with the better team. The Eagles have been one of the best teams in football this year. They are right now unstoppable. I don't know how the Washington Commanders are going to keep up with them, especially in Philadelphia. Hostile territory. Inclement weather. They're not playing in the dome that they were playing in Detroit last week. I feel like the advantage goes to the veteran team. The Eagles have been to a Super Bowl. They've been in NFC Championship games. Jane Daniels is in the playoffs for the first time in his career, of course, because he's a rookie. Are the lights too bright? We'll find out today. I think they might be. Give me Philly.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, but I'm gonna go with Washington. I think the Cinderella story that is the Commanders this year continues right now. I think somehow they find a way to pull it out. It's going to be another one of those not pretty type games for them, but I think Jaden Daniels finds a way to pull ahead and take the victory. Very slim victory, but I think the Commanders take it by a field goal by 3 points.
Yeah, I was going to say I am taking the Commanders +6 though. That's what I have it at here. I'm taking the Commanders +6.
A good bet. I should almost take that one too.
I kind of like it, actually. And then last but not least, we have the Bills going into Kansas City. Again, this is a game where I just hope it's a really good one, and may the best team win, and may whoever wins this game win the Super Bowl. But somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. I can't wait for this fucking game. This game to me is going to feel like a Super Bowl. I am going in pretty neutral. However, I am going to stick with my gut and what I've been saying for absolute years. Boring Super Bowl, Eagles versus Chiefs, like NFL needs because of $40 million increase of Swifties.
Watch your mouth there. Don't talk about Swifty like that.
George, everyone says that, but the Super Bowl in the NFL do pretty good numbers even without Taylor Swift before she got involved. So I'm not too concerned about them trying to.
One of these years, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, that would be bigger than that. I mean, truthfully, I could care less about this year's halftime show. I don't even know who Kendrick Lamar is, really. I know a handful of songs. I know of the beef he had with Drake, but other than that, like, I don't listen to him. Don't know shit about him. Couldn't care less. I feel like Chipper, but I could care less about the Super Bowl halftime show. But I said I don't. Huh?
So you're getting old.
Well, it's not even that. Like, I'm very aware of Kendrick Lamar. I could look him up. I just don't like it. I just don't like. Yeah. I don't like rap these days. I think it sucks. So I'm like, eh. But I'm going Kansas City. I don't bet against Mahomes until he loses. I got to stick with Mahomes.
I am taking the Bills to win this one. Give me the Bills plus their spread of 1.5, which is whatever, right? But I'll take the spread.
I mean, if they're going to win, then yeah, well, that's fine. Yeah, exactly. All right, then. Now it's time for everyone's favorite segment. We'll see how that goes, and then we'll pregame the Super Bowl here again in 2 weeks. Just about a little under 2 weeks. We'll talk to everybody. And now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, Just the Tip.
I forgot to turn a pick in or this week for a tip this week.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I didn't turn one in because it's been like a whirlwind of a week, but I don't have anything to really for George to show. So I don't really have a tip this week other than just stay healthy, people, because I have been fighting this respiratory issue for the last 30 days. I feel like back and forth. But take medicine if you need to. Stay away from people. If you're sick, stay away from others. But fuck, man, I'm just hoping this gets passed soon. But I don't got any other tips. I forgot to turn one in, so I apologize.
No worries. My tip, I'll make up for it because I have kind of a double tip.
So that's what she said.
I'm a big Jack Black fan. I realize that Jack Black just makes good movies. And it's a 20-year-old movie, but I love the movie Saving Silverman with Jason Biggs. Yeah, it's a great movie. Amanda Peet, Jason Biggs, and then, Steven Zahn. I love that movie. I was like, fuck it. It was on like Tubi or one of those free apps or whatever. I watched it a few weeks ago. It was so good. And it just made me go, man, Jack Black is so fucking funny. And I've seen Saving Silverman 100 times. I hadn't seen it in years. So I was like, let me watch it and see if it's still funny. It's still funny as fuck. And then it made me think about it because I liked the new movie that Jack Black did on Amazon Prime, I think it was, called Dear Santa. Basically, this dyslexic kid writes a letter to Santa Claus. He writes it to Satan. So Jack Black is Satan. He shows up to this kid who thinks it's Santa. And, it's an adult comedy. I think it's rated R or PG-13, so it's not exactly a kid's movie, but it's also not like super raunchy. But I just realized I'm like, Jack Black's funny as fuck. I really like his movies. So I figured I'd do both because obviously Saving Silverman's a 20-year-old movie that I've seen a dozen times. So I wasn't going to be like, here's my tip of the week. But it is attached to a brand new movie with Jack Black that came out like 2 months ago or whatever. So Dear Santa. Check it out with Jack Black. I really liked it. And then, if you guys have the free apps, if you've never seen Saving Silverman, which are you living under a rock, I highly recommend checking it out. It's fucking hilarious. And you'll want to be a Neil Diamond fan afterwards too. So
we watched that 3 weeks ago, whatever. It was hilarious. Funny. Yeah, Jack Black is a
good.
School of Rock.
It wasn't bad.
Jack Black movie, I think. School of Rock.
School Rock's fucking fantastic. I just think he's hilarious. Jack Black's pretty great. In just about anything that he does. I love the Tenacious D movie. I'm a big Jack Black guy. So watch anything with Jack Black is my recommendation for this week, essentially. You can't go wrong. All right, everybody. That's going to do it for us. We are off this Wednesday. Do not forget, but we will be back the next Wednesday to break down and preview the Super Bowl and get you guys all up to date on our medical-related issues because we are all falling apart at the seams. So thank you to George. Thank you, Kyle. We will talk to everybody again in about a week and a half. Enjoy the games today. Go Chiefs, go Bills, go whoever the fuck you guys root for. Don't care. But we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching. Cleveland, this is for you.
Later.